Board of Supervisors. Can we please pledge allegiance? Pledge allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Hopefully this should be a quick meeting. We don't have a lot on the agenda. Oh, is everyone in? Okay, awesome. All righty. So we do want to start off by announcing, now it did say on the agenda already that we had an executive session held on Wednesday, July 31st regarding personnel. We also need to mention there was one on July 27th and then also one on 8/5, and they were also both for personnel. We just want to get right to business here. And we are accepting the resignation of our township manager, Jackie Gunther, and that will be effective on 8/9 this Friday. And we're also appointing Jim Wendelgas as interim township manager.
Make a
And,
motion for
Yeah.
each one of them
yep, sorry.
separately.
Okay, so do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept resignation of Township Manager Jackie Gunther.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And then we're also appointing Jim Wendelgas, who is right here. I'd like to introduce Jim Wendelgas. Most of you know him.
Well,
Back again.
let me make that motion first, then we can.
Well, I just wanted to mention that he was going to be, we're going to appoint him effective immediately. And he will officially start also on 8/9.
Okay. So I'm going to make a motion to appoint Jim Wendelgas as interim township manager as described by our board chair.
And I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations and welcome,
Thank
Jim. I do want to also mention to anyone who's interested, if you're trying to reach out to Jim, he is going to have a township email set up. I think it is now. He's not actually receiving it perhaps just yet, but when he gets in that position, he will be able to receive it. Hopefully he'll be able to find it sooner, but it will be manager@westvincent.twp.org. If anyone would like to reach him, or of course you can always reach him through the office. We would also like to appoint our treasurer. Now, it doesn't say who the treasurer is here, but we did decide that Jim Wendelgas was also going to be our treasurer, our interim treasurer for now. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint Jim Wendelgas as our interim treasurer.
And I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you very much. And lastly, on our agenda, we have, we'd like to accept the proposal of $9,910 from Ed Thurcroft Design, which is for planning for the Opalani Park. Someone like to make a motion on that?
All right. I'll make a motion that we accept the proposed $9,910 from Ed Thurcroft Design and Planning for the landscape architecture for Opalani Park.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that passes as well. Do we have any public comment tonight?
Here we're going for a record, Gary.
Ladies, gentlemen, how are you?
Pretty good. How about you?
Delightful. Thank you for asking. Kind of warm out there. I'm speechless. Absolutely speechless. I feel like I'm in Groundhog Day. And it's like going back to 2010. Who for finding the interim manager, how did that come about? Did you guys do some kind of search? Was there a volunteer? Who came up with the interim manager? Nobody knows?
I mean, I don't know that we need to answer that question.
Oh, you don't have to answer any. I just thought I'd ask. It is public comment. You're absolutely right. By the way, you didn't ask for comment after each thing that you voted. So
Well, okay.
that's, as normal process is, but don't let that stop anything.
Well, there wasn't much to say. Jackie resigned.
Yeah, well, Jackie resigned. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Admittedly, I was a cheerleader for Jackie. She was a tough person. Okay, she was tough. I thought she was pretty fair. She reacted a little bit ruggedly sometimes to people's questions, but she did pretty good. But we worked hard for years to get rid of your new interim manager and clean things up. And now it's back again. It's like Groundhog Day. What's the salary?
Yeah, it's $75 an hour,
How many hours a week?
up to 40, but it could be less.
It could be less. And that's as treasurer and manager?
Yes.
Does the treasurer know how to do QuickBooks?
Treasurer will have staff that can do quick.
So it's a figurehead?
It's overseeing the accounting functions of the township.
Clearly, you don't know the history of this township back in the day when.
No, I know.
Yeah. And it's not your responsibility. I'm sorry, like, it's not your responsibility. It's the other three here.
Do you have something that you'd
Oh.
like to say here?
Sure. Yes.
Topic.
This is a guy that when he do the budget, he claimed it took him 160 hours to do a budget. I'm shocked of your pick. Absolutely shocked. When will you be doing a search for a new manager?
Immediately. And in fact, that was something we were just talking about before in our meeting, is how everyone's goal here is that Jim not be our manager, interim manager for very long. He is here to help us actually get someone else, which is kind of refreshing to have someone in a position that doesn't want it, so that we will actually do a real search and find other people who are out there who can do the job. And I feel confident that Jim is, we appreciate that he is here to help us, and I appreciate that he's going to get that job done.
Okay, I'm going to toss it back again when that goes out. There's a guy back in the corner here that used to be a supervisor that could be your treasurer, or he could be your manager and do it blindfolded.
That would be wonderful if he would,
No,
if you would like to put in for that.
I'm sorry, what was that? What was that,
He
Sarah?
said he's shaking his head very vigorously.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
We would
because
like to get that, we just talked about, we would like to get this, we have, this posted immediately
Okay.
on our website, and then it's also going to go out as well. And a few, feelers have been put out.
Okay,
So
great.
we would love to hear from everyone and anyone who has suggestions of people who would like to work in this township.
Okay. Well, thank you for
We'd
letting
like
me
to
hear my
connect
rant.
Those new people so
Yeah.
that they stay.
You got it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bernie.
Take care, friends.
How is the transition going to affect
Would you like to?
George Zelchino's Earth? How's the transition going to affect the audit potentially?
It's not going to.
So is Jackie available for consultancy after the 9th?
If needed, yes.
And but you don't anticipate a need? Is that where
I
you're
don't
at
know.
now as far as?
I spoke to her personally, and she said she of course would make herself available if there was a need.
And I'm just gonna say to you that, from everything I could see, Jackie is leaving, everything taken care of as she can. She has made sure everyone knows what's going on. She's been very forthcoming on all the information, and she has made it clear that she is available to help us. So this is obviously a better situation for her for other reasons, and
What about
we're
treasurer?
good about that.
What about bookkeeping staff? Are we good now, or do we have to get somebody in the short term? I mean, obviously you need bookkeeping.
Yeah, she resigned from the treasurer as well and all of that. Now.
That's what I
Jackie
mean.
Has been doing some of the day-to-day bookkeeping, and she's going to continue and
Is that
doing that, but
is it more
we definitely
than?
need more help here, and
So
we're.
are you looking at
asking for it.
agencies, or are you looking at hiring a permanent treasurer?
Let me just say, we appointed an interim manager today. We are not going to micromanage our manager.
but we are looking at all of those options.
What she said.
Okay,
And if you have ideas, we'd like to hear them.
okay. And then as far as one initiative that Jackie had mentioned she was going to take on in the fall was to review our fee schedule again and go through and make sure that that there's some. She said they would go through and look at what it really costs the township for the fees. A little bit arbitrary last year that some of the fees got raised. It was a little bit like throwing a dart. And she said she was gonna go back and take a look at it. So hope that doesn't fall through the cracks.
Good reminder. Thank you.
I'll remind you again
I'm
in a
sure.
month. Last thing, so we advertised this meeting recently.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. And it
So-
was always advertised as a.
So why do we advertise it again?
Well, because there's been a difference of opinion whether we need to advertise it again. But in the abundance of a caution, we advertised it again.
But your initial opinion was that you advertise all meetings at the beginning of the year, all meetings are business
And
meetings.
even if it's advertised as a workshop, it's still a business meeting. But in abundance of caution, we advertise it anyway.
Belt and suspenders, is that?
Well, I do
Absolutely.
think that we were considering doing some business at this meeting as well, which we did. We just appointed
Right.
at their price.
Yeah, I know, but I think at the beginning of the year, we had this exact discussion and
Right.
we advertise all meetings and said all meetings can be business or,
I'm of the
Workshop.
opinion that the way the meeting was advertised in the year would allow us to conduct business at all workshops. The way it was advertised. However, your colleague in the back hired a lawyer to challenge us as a result of the December meeting, so.
well, those were not
So-
advertised.
so-
That,
so-
that was a totally
No,
different
it was an
situation.
advertised Workshop, and to avoid that, we advertised.
Yeah, but just to be clear, last year's meetings were not advertised.
Well, they were workshops, so we advertised tonight and the advertisements for next year. Will be clear that business can be conducted both at the work, at the
Okay.
meetings and at the
We're trying
workshops.
to hear you and
So we
respond.
don't have that as a.
Yeah, I thought we did that at the beginning of this year. That's the only reason I asked.
Well, I think that we did, but we'll be a little bit more clear.
Thank you, George. Does anyone else have a comment?
Evening, Julie Foster, Hilltop Road. I'm really excited that you guys are doing a public hiring process. That's great. Some of the questions that came up with the previous hiring process were making sure that there's an application that's submitted. My request would be that when we come down to resume review, that the candidate who's about to be voted on, that the community get to see that person's resume to have a sense of their experience. That was one of the concerns. As someone also previously asked, that our new treasurer have an accounting degree. I think that's really important. We've been obviously everyone knows the history of some of the challenges with that in the township, and just having that experience and qualification, while I know not legally required, that's my suggestion as we move forward. My second suggestion is that in the interim manager job position, part of those job duties is to secure a new township manager. That was not clear last year, and so we ended up with the interim person becoming the permanent person. And in my personal experience, having done these kinds of executive searches a number of times, that never usually works out very well. It's always best if the interim person's responsibilities include finding a new appropriate person for the role. And then my last question is, again, I understand that legally we're not required to have the manager and the treasurer to be separate people, but just for checks and balances, is that a goal that we're working towards moving forward?
Yes, and that is what we wanted for the last year, and that was one of the stumbling blocks that we had, where Jackie did not want to give that up. She was good at it, she liked doing it and didn't want to give it up. your opinion, and we would just like to see that be two different people. That was a difference of opinion that we had. And I think that I can only speak for myself, but I believe that we all feel that way, that is what we want, two different people doing that job.
It's in our contract with him.
Yep.
That his responsibility is to help us to identify candidates for us to interview for the manager job.
And as part of the contract, and I'm sorry, Jim, I feel odd like speaking about this with in front of you, but just, so as part of the contract that the interim manager is not going to be one of those candidates, is that very explicitly?
No, he wants to be retired like he was before.
Oh, no, but I've had this experience. This, honestly, this goes back to my high school. We were hiring somebody and yeah,
We've
okay.
learned some things.
Yeah, and I think this is extremely different. You know, when we hired Jackie, we had great plans for the future that she was going to be our manager. We were giving her more of a trial than hiring her to find another manager. And, you know, did work, and she now is moving on, so.
And my very last comment is I volunteered for this previously, but I do have QuickBooks experience. I ran a multi-million-dollar company for a number of years. And so if you needed like a data monkey, entry monkey, I'm happy to volunteer and sign non-disclosures or whatever is
Cool.
useful for you.
Have any municipal experience? It's also going to be
In
very
Philadelphia.
important. Okay, that's going to be very important in our search.
I don't know. I'm not applying for the job. I'm literally saying I will volunteer to help you guys like
Thank you.
input data into the system. That's all, just to move the audit along,
Thank you.
if that's appropriate and or helpful. Thank you.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else had comments? No? Seeing none, I guess, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
We're adjourned. Thank you very much for coming out, everyone.
So you'll be, no.
Yeah. You don't.
No, it's not really. I don't like people to come up with this.